This is Trigger Point, episode 26. My name's Peter, and sitting across from me is my co-host, Sarita. Hi, Sarita.
Hi, Peter.
So, after 26 episodes, I've finally done the opening. Woohoo! Go me!
How does it feel?
It seems like it's like long overdue. I've kind of felt like I should probably have done this like ages ago, but just never bothered with it.
But it's really, really strange because like the names are like switched over now, and like I have to respond to you.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, wait, what am I supposed to say now? I don't know what to say.
Yeah. It's like, what? Hi?
Hi. Twilight Zone. Everything feels slightly weird.
And it does actually feel a bit weird because we've been in this like we've been in this mode for like so many episodes that we just so naturally go into that mode where you do the opening and I'll just respond. And
Yeah.
Like suddenly it's just like, oh, let me do it this time. And suddenly it's like.
Look, I know for a fact that when I listen to podcasts and they swap the person who's speaking the opening thing, it creeps me out, like it weirds me out. I was like, wait, that's not the voice that I'm normally used to, and they're not saying it in the same cadence or in the same manner that is normally used to, and you're like, what's going on?
It's something. The thing is, like, people probably listen to this episode and go, like, is something different? Has something happened? Like, what's so different about? What's so special about this episode? And let me just tell everyone, there is nothing that special about this episode.
Yeah, this is not like some anniversary episode. No, nothing.
We just suddenly decided, hey, let me do the opening for once. So that's it.
That's it.
So what have we been up to? Serena, what have you been up to?
A couple of different things. Mainly it was PAX. PAX was the 3-day event. Like, this is a few weeks back already. Yeah,
the one that you weren't actually planning to go at all. No, but then you eventually getting a 3-day, end up going all 3 days. Yeah. Whereas I actually only went to go for 1 day, and I went for my 1 day.
Yeah, and you didn't like it.
Yeah, this year was surprisingly dull, I thought, personally. Okay. It just, nothing really grabbed my attention, and there wasn't any great new games that I kind of like wanted to see. And I was disappointed in the fact that the last 3 years of PAX, the main Sony showcase would always showcase one particular game, and they'll put a lot of effort into that game, and there's a lot of like promotion for that particular game, and it's never been a game that I would have played myself.
Yeah, okay.
It's never been a game that I would probably have just picked it off the shelf. So every time I come into it, I look at it and go, oh, this is really interesting, or that I've never thought of playing that. And so every year it was a big surprise, and I was really looking forward to this year. And then this year, I didn't even actually go into the booth because, well, one, because of the line, and two, it was a zombie game, and I was like, not big fan of zombie games. So,
but you might have liked it.
Yeah,
like all the other times. Oh, you didn't win it.
But the promotion wasn't great either. Like previously, like last year, it was Detroit, and they're basically had people dressing up as those androids. And like waving at you.
I actually knew one of the guys who was acting as that.
Okay. And that was a really great gimmick, and I really thought it played really well. This year, it was like, that didn't do anything. They just put a shack with nothing, and I was like,
I saw that shack. I wasn't interested in going in at all.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, there's nothing for me. So anyway, I'm a bit disappointed in that. But how did you like PAX?
Well, the thing with PAX or any kind of expos like this is that I don't care about the panels. Like most of the time, I don't care about the panels or any of the games because I don't enjoy lining up for an hour to test out maximum 10 minutes of a game that I might not even end up liking. Yeah. Because I'm not a heavy gamer to begin with, because I can't see myself spending hours sitting in front of a computer playing games. I can see myself spending hours on my phone playing games or on a Switch because I like my game being portable. Yeah. So a large majority of the games that's at PAX won't interest me. Yeah. I like the indie games if they're available on Switch. And some of them were. I really enjoyed looking at Soundfall. I'm looking forward to that coming out. And Necrobarista.
Oh, I didn't see that.
What? Necrobarista? Yeah. It was on towards the side. It was...
Because I was looking at it. I was like, oh, I remembered you telling me.
Yeah,
and I was like, that sounds like... I didn't see it, sorry.
I think that's coming out December 14th on the Switch. Like, it's available already, the game, on computer. Okay. It's just the Switch one is coming out on the 14th.
How did you like it?
It's interesting. I don't think their demo was long enough.
Okay.
So I don't know. Like I really want to... I'm going to buy it regardless. Because I bought a Switch. So, but what I find enjoyable about all these expos is buying shit. And
spending money, copious amounts of money.
Yes, because,
money which you don't really have to spend.
No, of course not. Because retail therapy really works for me. I get a joy out of spending money, and then I feel sadness after seeing my bank account. But so normally with these expos, like I stopped going to expos because I feel like I'm paying money to spend money, and I just can't justify it. Whereas this time, because I didn't have to pay for the tickets, it was very dangerous because like, you know what? I didn't have to pay for the tickets. Therefore,
I have an extra like $180 to spend on buying shit.
Yeah, but I spent way more than 180 because I thought that every time I was spending something without actually taking into consideration I already spent money from that $180. And I really like loot bags and like, mystery boxes. They're like terrible, like they're not good for, they're not worth the money most of the time.
Of course not.
But the idea of like...
something you just don't know.
Yeah.
That mystery of what I'm going to get.
Yeah, it ticks way too many boxes for me.
Like so gullible,
Serena. I know. So I bought way too many one of those loot boxes. And... one of them were pretty good. One, like the other one was I bought the one for the Neko Atsume game, like the cat collecting game on the phone. No, it doesn't matter. It's really cute, and I got like a lot of cute little kitties from that. Okay. That was really nice. And the TARDIS one, like the Doctor Who one, was also really nice.
Yeah.
The one that disappointed me the most was the Harry Potter one, the Wizarding World one.
Oh.
Like everything in it, I just couldn't care less about. So, whatever. And I also bought like loot bags for dice. Okay, they had some shops there that had really pretty dice, but I was never going to buy those. Like the $200 for a set of dice. I actually use my dice. Okay, if I spend $200 on those dice, I'm not rolling them because they will chip. They look pretty. Don't get me wrong. Like using precious stones to make dice is like. They're the prettiest thing, but that's not the worst idea ever. Rolling them, they'll chip their stuff, and then they become like not balanced.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't understand the idea about it. But there were other shops that had nice dice as well.
That you could roll.
That I could roll, but they were all sold out.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at the display. I'm like, I would really like, and I was talking to the seller, like, everything's pre-ordered now, right? You buy on this shop and they'll ship it to you later. And I'm like, I would really like to spend some money now, right? And she's like, well, you see the things on the display here, like the loot bags? Yeah. There were 3 loot bags on the display, as well as the other stuff as well. They're like, I could sell you one of them, right? And I'm like, well, if you're going to sell me one of them, why don't you sell me all 3 of them? Right? Like, you're not... Because she was like, it was the last day. She's not going to keep the stock. And so she sold me all 3 loot bags. But now that I think about it, I should have bought all the demos, like all the... all the actual dice that was is on display anyway. She could have sold me those as well. I should have asked her that. Oh man.
Yeah, spend more money, Serena.
Yeah, how many sets of dice do I need?
Yeah. How many sets of dice do you have, Serena?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Enough said, really. Enough said. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Enough about your dice, Serena.
Sorry.
I've been watching actually a lot of things recently. Really shouldn't have, because I'm on my last week of my legal course. So I really should have been, paying attention to that. And I haven't. And so I'm behind, which is like why I have to do something straight after this recording. I'm so behind in like all of my stuff over there. Because I was procrastinating, as I do. As you do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I watched a number of shows.
Oh my god, number of shows.
I know, right? A number of shows. So the first one I watched is called Blast Tempest. It's an anime that's available on Anime Lab. It's a weird ass show, like really, really weird ass show.
What's the premise?
So the premise is you've got this group of wizards in the world, or that worships a tree of life, basically. What they think is the tree of life.
Okay.
But then part of the clan decided, no, we're going to now worship the tree of Exodus instead, which is the complete opposite of what they do.
Wait, are they actually physical trees?
They do become physical trees in the end.
Okay.
But they're trying to bring the tree of Exodus to life, basically.
Okay.
And apparently, it's weird. Not that part isn't the weird part. It's just a mother, wizard magecraft show.
Yep.
The weird part of this show is that they quote and constantly quote Shakespeare in the show. Like literally every second, or fourth sentence is like a quote from Shakespeare.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, the reason why is because, and that's the other reason why I think this show is weird. Okay, the way this show is portrayed at the start, it's a tragedy.
Okay.
So these two guys, best friends since high school. One of the guy has a younger sister. She gets murdered. Okay. Which sparks off their adventure into basically helping or not helping the wizards somehow. Okay. And so you've got that premises. So it seems pretty, tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the show's really lighthearted, and it's really, and the opening theme is quite not tragedy, but the opening theme doesn't make you feel like it's a lighthearted show. Okay. You watch the show and it kind of is in between, and you don't know if it's like a tragedy or a comedy. Okay. And then the ending theme is this really cute, song with this cute, motif that comes up and dances, and it's just I don't know what you're trying to get, and we just
they don't manage your expectation very well.
Not that okay. And the reason why, after thinking about this show a lot more, is because they constantly quote two shows in
Shakespeare,
two Shakespeare in the show, Hamlet and The Tempest. Okay. Now both of them is a story about revenge.
Yeah.
Okay. Hamlet obviously is a tragedy, traditional sense of tragedy.
Yeah.
Tempest is a comedy. Or I don't know if it's technically comedy, but that's how they said it's a comedy. Because I've never actually read The Tempest. But it basically, they were trying to kind of show that what's the possibility when we start off revenge, how it can differ in its final outcome, because Hamlet is a tragedy. It doesn't end well for anyone. The Tempest apparently ends with everyone being happily ever after.
I'm not too familiar with Tempest either.
But it starts off with the concept of revenge. And so that's why the show is a bit like it is.
Okay. So everything was actually, it's not a mistake.
No.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's very odd as a show to watch, because I don't know how to feel about the show. Is it a commentary on tragedy and comedy? Should I just watch it as an anime? Or just that does weird shit? Or is there something more deeper, like linguistic, analytical language, like Shakespearean thing that I need to delve into, which I have no idea because I'm not into that. I don't know. Okay.
And also it's translated, so
in saying that, the characters are really interesting. The characters are very not the usual type of character that you expect in an anime. They're very emotionless. The two main characters are very emotionless, and no, not emotionless. They have a very subtle emotion.
Okay.
It's like, so basically, like, obviously the younger sister that died, right?
Yep.
Okay. The best friend was actually dating her in secret behind the brother's back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so when she dies, obviously you'd expect
both of them to be
like, but he acts as if he's completely fine, and he still basically tells people as if he still has a girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just.
That doesn't sound like it's subtle. That sounds like they're both mentally.
I don't know. Like, it's a very interesting show. Like,
Okay.
I was really interested in the show.
Okay.
But I don't know what to think about the show.
And you finished it.
I finished it.
Is it worth watching?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I don't know whether.
Would you recommend me to watch it?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's going to annoy you or not. Like,
okay, is the artwork nice? Like, do I have to sit through watching terribly drawn characters?
To be honest, I actually didn't pay attention to the artwork at all.
Okay.
Like, the show is so, because the show is so weird. Like, it just completely blew like my expectation of what I was expecting to watch.
Okay, I'm Googling it now. So,
but yeah. Anyway, so I watched Blast Tempest.
Uh-huh.
Really weird show. I'm not sure if I should recommend you, but the character I really enjoy. The characters are interesting. This plot though is a bit weak, and it is a bit of
Blast of Tempest.
Yeah, it is slightly slow as well, the show. So yeah. Anyway, so that's the first thing that I watched.
Okay, the drawing's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
You probably would enjoy it. It's a bit like the what's that anime that we watched last year?
We watched a lot of animes.
No, the movie.
Oh, Your Name.
Your Name. It kind of has a similar feel to it.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
In terms of the artwork, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's the first thing that I watched. Second thing that I watched was a Hong Kong drama from TVB.
Yep.
It's kind of...
We don't normally recommend TVB...
Oh, we don't at all. Like, I haven't watched a Hong Kong TVB drama coming to think about it, in 6 years. I haven't actually watched a full Hong Kong TV drama in 6 years. That's how long it's been since I've watched one of those shows, because half of the time the shows are terrible.
Half?
I'm being nice here. And the other half is, the people can't act.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot of issues with the current generation of Hong Kong drama.
Oh, yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Okay? But in saying that, I binged this in 3 nights. 25 episodes, I binged it in 3 nights. It was great. It was brilliant. One of the show is called Life on the Line. In Chinese, it's called 跳躍生命線.
Yep.
But one of the reasons why I enjoyed this so much was it's really different from your usual TVB drama style. Like, Hong Kong dramas have a very structured way of telling a story. Look, there's still some tropes in here that's so overused that I don't think you can ever get away totally from that. But the great thing about this show is, like, the show is about paramedics. So it focuses on how these people train to be paramedics and then working as a paramedic. It focuses a lot on how... what they have to deal with in terms of, like, in life and death situations, and how people have to accept sometimes that no matter how much you do, especially as a paramedic, there's only so much you can do, and nothing can stop someone from dying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it makes a very small, but it's not like a very pessimistic show. It's really optimistic. It really tries to bring out, like, some life lessons
Okay.
in the show. And they do a lot of like expositions at the end of the show. They have like a narrator. Well, each of the main characters like do some narrating at the end of the episodes, and they try to bring out some meaning behind that particular episode. And I felt that was really well done.
Okay.
And it's probably one of the most heartwarming show that I've watched in a while.
Okay.
That's not just focused about, the relationship between the guy and the girl. Like, there was very little of that in the show, which was surprising because TVB is known to, hammer you in the face with like, look at how great these two are together, or like, look at how sad that these aren't together, or just look at these two. It's so annoying.
Yep.
When I'm watching Hong Kong drama, but this one had put those, like, there's still relationships like that in the show.
Yeah.
But they take like a back seat.
Yep.
And it's only there to kind of just keep you invested in the characters. The whole show really moves everything along. And so I don't usually recommend Hong Kong drama to anyone.
Yeah.
But definitely this one, give it a try. It's, as I said, it's one of the few shows that I've managed to watch in 6 years from Hong Kong. So... and it's great, and I honestly say it's a great show, and I enjoyed it a lot more than a lot of shows that we've probably reviewed as well. So highly recommend it. And then finally, I have been watching a lot of things instead of doing my work. I know, sorry. I hope my mentor doesn't actually listen to my podcast because that would be terrible.
Yeah.
I've been watching Rise of the Phoenix, which I've mentioned to Serena before.
Oh my god, that's killed my productivity for a little while.
So I'm up to episode 30 or thereabouts. Mm-hmm. It's a 70 episode show. Mm-hmm. How much are you up to, Serena?
I'll look at it right now because it's on my phone. Because I was watching it.
Actually
actually more than I thought. I'm on episode 14.
Oh, okay.
Ask me when I started.
When did you start?
3 days ago.
So you enjoy it?
I do. But I'm actually doing NaNoWriMo right now. I should be writing 2,000 words a day, not binge watching shows. TV series.
Yeah. Take it, Serena. I should be negotiating right now with my counterpart. I'm not. So I won't go into too much about Rise of the Phoenix because I have a sinking suspicion that we'll be doing that as our next topic. So we will leave that to next time. But as you can tell, I have been very busy. Not doing what I should be doing, but I've been very busy. I've been watching so many stuff. And I've been actually watching a lot of like other stuff as well. Just not full on series though. Like episodes here and there of like different shows. So I don't know where.
You are in full on procrastination mode.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Anyway, we better get on to our actual topic.
So our actual topic is orange marmalade.
Now we expected it to be bad. Okay. Last month we said that we don't have high expectations for this show.
No.
Now, knowing my expectations from last month, this is an actually pretty good show.
I know, right?
But that's because I had really low expectations.
I know, right? We did not expect this to be good at all. We expect this to be like really trashy, and like we were expecting to be like just basically trash bagging the whole thing.
Yep.
Not that we're not going to. There are still parts we will.
Yeah. Look. This is not a great show.
No.
Okay. This is.
We are not saying this is something that you must watch.
You shouldn't watch. Okay. No.
I promise that you probably wouldn't say you shouldn't watch it, but it's not something that I would say we highly recommend. Okay.
No,
it is not something that
I would recommend you watch this over Shadowhunters.
Yep.
Shadowhunters is really bad. This one, not so bad.
In comparison, that's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's okay. So let's give it a little bit of a backstory.
Backstory.
Okay. We probably need to have some kind of like sound, like to let it know backstory time, and then you have twinkling star sounds or something.
So the premises of the show is that we are living in a world, Korea. We're living in a world where vampires and humans coexist. Coexist is
such a strong word.
Isn't it? Well, we live in a world where humans know that vampires exist and they are living amongst them.
But they don't know who amongst them are vampires because vampires keep their identity a secret.
Yeah.
But there's a peace treaty. They don't drink human blood, and they should be given a moderate amount of human rights.
Yes.
In the process.
Yes.
And here's where things kind of get strange. Well, okay, no, we shouldn't go about that. Just the overarching thing.
So that's the premises of the show.
And the idea is that this is a high school romance.
Yeah.
Question mark, because then we'll deal with this later. The high school romance where the girl's a vampire, the boy's not a vampire.
And he hates vampires, apparently.
And he hates vampires, though never understood why. But they fall in love.
Yes.
Question mark. And then you have a sudden flip where you this was where we were reading the blurb, and it was talking about how this love story spans like generations where in a past life they met and she's still a vampire and he's still a racist classist human, and they fall in love, and all the trials and tribulations that go with that. The weird thing about this show has got nothing to do with the show. Is the way Netflix put this show on their server. I don't know whether they just don't know.
I know,
don't
right?
realize. But in the blurbs of every episode and in the thumbnails, they show it as if the show starts with the period piece, right? Like what happened in their past life. And then it leads on into their modern day life, right?
And then time passes and then they're in the current day. So you reading that, you expect, so it starts off
in the period
and where we're introduced to them and their love story, I guess. And then we see how that love story transcends into current day. That's what we expected. That was not the show though.
No.
Because the show actually starts off in the modern day.
Yes.
It starts off in the modern day.
they actually mislabeled episodes in this show. So
the first 5 episode and the second 5?
No, last 5. The first 5 and the last 5
No.
modern day. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, no. But I'm saying, so the first 5 and the second 5 should be flipped.
Yeah, but knowing the story,
No, as in the blurb.
Yeah. The blurb should be flipped. Yeah. So Netflix is something weird with their labeling and
it was incorrect.
So when I was watching it, I got really confused whether the shows were in the wrong order or I was watching them in the wrong order or whatever. But apparently it doesn't really matter because even though they market it as if the show was one continuous thing, it felt more like to me that due to political reasons, they suddenly had to change the show to a period piece and then flipped back. Like, there was no reason why this was done the way it was done. So, but backstory of a backstory, this was originally a webcomic, a Korean webcomic that apparently garnered a lot of popularity, and then it was made into a TV show. I had a quick glance at the webcomic. There was no period piece, right? I don't know where the story came from, who decided to jam this piece in there, but it's in there, and that's what we're watching.
And I think because it wasn't actually part of the original comic, it shows because it's very different.
It's written very differently.
It's very different. It's written very differently. The characterizations are slightly different. And there's no cohesiveness in the second part.
No.
If you literally cut out the middle 5 episodes or the middle parts of, like, when they go into the period piece, if you cut all that out,
I think you could still continue.
You could still watch the whole show and not be completely like thrown. There's some parts in the third season which kind of refers to it, but it's a very forced linkage. It's like, we need to let people know that, no, this is still the same show. Let us put in this thing to let people know it is still the same show. It felt like that. So it wasn't needed at all.
No.
In saying that, okay,
Okay, let's just say quickly, we'll refer to these as seasons because that's how Wikipedia puts it.
Yeah.
With the first season, which is the modern day time,
Yep.
second season where they go back in time, and then third season where we come back
in the modern day.
Yeah, back in the modern day. So this is another one of those situations where what I like and what Peter like is completely opposite.
Yeah, I know, right? Odd. So I did not enjoy the period piece. So I did not enjoy second season. Not that it was... Okay, I'll explain why I didn't enjoy it. For one, I felt like the period piece tried to tackle way too many topics in one go. And knowing that each season, quotation seasons, are like 4 or 5 episodes only, they don't have enough time to go into all this thing. And actually, that's to be fair, that's not a problem with just the second season. It's a problem with the whole show. They tackle on so many things, but they'd only have like 5 episodes to flesh
if they made
anything.
them into actual seasons, 3 seasons of like 10, 12, even 20 episodes.
It would be so much better. But given that there was only 4 episodes, they tried to have way too many stuff, and it became so cluttered, and it became so you become inundated with stuff that I didn't really care about any of it. Secondly, because we just finished watching a period piece in Mr. Sunshine. The production value of that was so much better in every respect. And no offense, that is a big production. Okay. I just couldn't help but feel like, wow, this is like watching, a high school trying to, do a
high school production
of a period piece. Compared to obviously Mr. Sunshine, I was just like, oh, that's just I can see all the like imperfections in your set that wouldn't have been there if in the Mr. Sunshine set. And personally, I didn't enjoy most of the acting in the second season as much. Because especially for the 2 main guys, I felt that they're too modern. Like, they have this modern feel about them. And so when they're put into this, period piece drama, they look really odd. For me, I like the female lead though. She looks she looks great in the period piece. But yeah, I wasn't convinced with the performance at itself, like in the period piece. In contrast, I did enjoy much more the present time. I feel like they're much more comfortable because they're playing people like their age, and they have less. I feel like they're just playing more themselves in some respects. So I feel it's natural for me to watch them doing that. Whereas I feel like in the period piece, they're deliberately trying to make themselves older somehow. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that's one of the...
Okay, I actually have a couple of comments on that. You're completely right. In the period piece, they are acting older because... And that makes sense, right? Like, they might be the same age, but back in the day...
You just would be older,
If you're 16, 17, you should be married, right? Like, they're dealing with different issues, right? Like, they have to deal with marriage, they have to deal with... and here is why I like the period piece more, because the story in the period piece seems bigger, right? They're dealing with, like, world-changing events. They're dealing with... it's not a crush, right? This is like, if they have a relationship, they're going to get married, right? This is like bigger deal. Whereas I'm watching the modern day piece and I'm like, these are just like high school kids who have nothing better to do than deal with school bullying. Like they try to bring in the other issues, right? Like, there's there is like a whole issue of racism, right? Like people don't like vampires. How she has to deal with keeping her identity secret because otherwise she has to deal with a lot of negativity, or like the fact that there's this shadowy government thing that deals with all the vampires, and if you let your secret be known, if your identity is revealed, you have to move, right? And this is supposed to be a big deal, but I couldn't care less. Like, it wasn't a big enough deal for me. Whereas if you're talking about, there's like this evil group of vampires who's trying to take over the world and trying to make the royal family into vampires, that's a bigger deal, and a deal and an issue that the main characters could actually fight against. Whereas in the modern day one, they're not involved in any of the shadowy things that's going on in the background, or like the governments are making changes to policies. They have nothing to do with it. They're just high school kids making a band. Like, the story is so small that it didn't interest me. What did interest me in the modern day thing was the fact that you had a 3-way or a 4-way relationship thing, but they didn't capitalize on that.
No.
Right? They spent so much time talking about how the main guy is infatuated with the main girl because she looks pretty, and she's infatuated with him because he smells sweet. And you have like a weird like sex dream sequence, right? And you know, and the effects that happen after when he woke up, like, and you're like, oh, you don't normally see this kind of thing in TV.
I actually kind of was like, oh, good, you actually acknowledge it that it is a sex dream. Okay, that was cool.
Yeah, okay, that's funny. Except, knowing how short the show was, they wasted way too much time on that.
I know, right?
Right, and then like afterwards, everything seems so rushed. Like, you suddenly have like a montage of them setting up a band and getting together and practicing, and then suddenly they're performing.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait,
what happened?
What happened to the pacing of this show? At the start, everything dragged on for so long, whether everyone is a musical genius, how they all play the guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay, that doesn't seem weird at all. Like, everyone, okay, this is not a musical school, but everyone's like, okay. And you have one day spanning for 2 episodes, right? And suddenly you have a span of 3 months going by in like 10 seconds, and it doesn't make sense. Whereas in the second season, you don't have skips in time, right? Everything is, it plods on. Like, and yes, there is a lot of things going on, but nothing drags because of that. And I think because of the fact that we watched Mr. Sunshine, a lot of the information that was in this show, I already accepted. Right? Like, oh, she's a butcher, and so therefore they can't be together. Like, there was a lot of shortcuts in here that I was able to accept because I've watched the previous one. And I do understand what you mean by this is like a high school level production. But I don't compare this immediately to Mr. Sunshine because I watched season 1. Season 1 to me felt like a different show. So I'm comparing season 2 to season 1. And the production quality of season 1 was not that great. So season 2, in actual fact, looked better to me. Because of the fact that you don't have... They're not mincing across the stage. And this is where the main girl in the first season moves really strangely. It feels like she's shuffling. Instead of like walking, she's shuffling across this stage all the time, like across the scene. And she's constantly running off, like shuffle running off, right? And you always leave the guy just standing there flabbergasted by her strange behavior. Whereas in the second season, you have them face-to-face talking, at sometimes arguing or whatever. Like, they're actually facing each other and dealing with issues, right? They're facing their emotions and their feelings for each other. In this first season, they never do that.
No.
Right? Not until the very end do they even kind of like do anything. So I felt season 2 was more satisfying to me because it felt like they were actually doing something, whereas the first season, nothing was happening. So that's where I feel different to you from that point of view. And then the third season happened and they kind of tried to mash everything in together. and I like... At first, I was thinking, okay, you could just cut out season 2, right? And 1 and 3 would just work. But then they kind of like try to make it integral to the whole thing. Like, only reason why he likes her in the third season is because he remembers the stuff that happens in the second season. They actually say he never remembers the stuff that happens in the first season.
I know, right?
It's purely because he remembers the stuff that happens in the second season, which is kind of strange.
Really weird.
And so that wasn't very satisfying to me either. So which is why I like the second season more, because I feel like if you fleshed it out, if you pulled it out into a 20 episode season, I'll be happy with that. Whereas I think if a season 1 and 2, if you made that into a show by itself, I still think there's way too much, too many problems because the story is still too small.
Okay. See, because I don't necessarily have a problem with a small story.
Yeah, okay.
Because it doesn't, like, for me, it can have, you know, actually, in some respects, sometimes I like the story to be more focused because, like, yes, you can have all these major issues that's you know, well saying, but then you're not really focusing on them. And I guess because the show is kind of supposed to be focused on them, it's not supposed to be a grand world show. I kind of felt like it works better because when they try to bring all these things together, then it becomes like the second season where you just have too much things jammed into it.
I think I understand if it was just a small story, it might work. But the fact that they're trying to bring in the whole, we're trialing this new coexistence thing, right? So it's not just a small story anymore. They
are bringing things like they are bringing
that shadowy vampire thing where they mention but don't really flesh out. Yeah. That's where I have a problem with. You have a small story, but you keep on mentioning these big things that none of the characters could do anything about. Then it becomes like it just showcases how small the story is. If they didn't show that, I think I'd be better with it. I don't know. It's a balance thing for me. In that sense.
Okay. I feel like because the major problem that we both agree with the show is like it's way too short. In what they're trying to do, it's way too short.
Yep.
So in the first season, as you said, you know, they go from introducing the concept of this world and then going to making the band and then performing as a band. They didn't show how the band kind of really...
Oh, and a lighthouse that you can make wishes at.
Yeah.
It's like normally in a show like this, if that is a big deal, that should show up a little bit more. But it only shows up in the last, episode or last 2 episodes of the season one.
And then they never take it
They
again.
never talk about it again. And you're like... Just like how in the last season, they suddenly talk about this...
The tree.
Well, not just the tree, but the well in which you make a wish or something.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you're like... Why are you introducing these prop pieces that could have so much more potential?
Yeah, like if you are intending to use these as motifs, then you need to bring them back and use the same motif.
Yeah,
because otherwise we're not going to get the significance of it.
Yeah,
like it's not going to make any sense to us, right? And so they don't have a very cohesiveness in the show.
No.
What we both agreed on is like the show feels like there's 3 different groups.
3 committees.
3 committees that's decided, okay, one committee is like, I want to make a high school romance.
Yay!
And then another group is like, I want to make a period piece because, that's the hit thing right now, so let's do that. And then you've got a final one who's like, no, I want to talk about the social impact of like racism and like how classism, and what better way to do it than using this vampire system in my mind.
By the way, which I have to say, vampires who could have kids, who could grow old,
and
who could die, just a longer lifespan.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, so how are they vampires?
Apart from the fact that you drink blood.
And they don't really have to drink blood either, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's fake blood, right? So apart from having a slight sun sensitivity, a liquid diet, and unfortunate canine situation, they're not really.
So the whole show is disjointed like that.
Yeah.
It feels like it's trying to pull in 3 different directions.
Yes.
And then never come together and say, what do we want to actually make? Like, or how are we going to balance each of... Because I feel like the show could have been done really well.
Yes.
And could have been done very balanced, addressing all 3.
Yes.
It would have easily been able to do...
all 3 things.
All 3 things and do it well. And I could see so much potential into it as well, because I'm just looking at it and going like, this would be a great time to, showcase this part.
Like, imagine instead of her thinking his blood smells sweet, imagine if she was alive for the whole period of time, right?
Yep.
So she comes to modern day time, recognizes him, and that's why she's slightly infatuated with him. but then didn't want to repeat the tragedy of the past. Yep. Imagine that she didn't die; he died, right? Instead, didn't want to repeat the tragedy, so she tries to keep away. Yep. But he's entranced by her looks, and so that would make more sense than like, oh, his blood smells sweet, but never really delve into her really want to drink his blood. Like it was never really that big of an issue. She never really wanted to jump him. Yeah. Right? She only wanted to jump him because she was half asleep most of the time. And that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I know. That was also a bit weird.
Yeah.
But even like talking about like, you know, the reason why the show is called Orange Marmalade is because the band is called Orange Marmalade. And she gives a really good explanation of why she wants to call the band Orange Marmalade, like, as in, like, you know, because she says, you know, orange peels, which are normally discarded, is useful, and that's the important part, and that's what makes marmalade.
Like, it's like it's every part of an orange is used in orange marmalade, and she was saying, you know, as an ostracized part of society, it would be nice to be part of something that accepts the peel, accepts the unwanted part of it, and that was great. But that came up in episode 4 or 5,
and it was way too late because they never showed. And this is the thing, they never showed the other band members accepting this idea as well. Especially because the female antagonist for the show, that hates the main character at the start, she just goes from hating her to kind of disliking her to being in a band together, and now she's her friend.
But, okay, no, being in the band with her, but then still screwing her over enough to cause her to run away from the school. Like, as in, like...
yeah, it's kind of like you're in the band together, but you're still trying to... Like, it just felt so... There was no progression for her character, or no clear progression. No. Whereas and I don't know whether it would have been different if I actually read the comics, because I feel like that is a really good story for her to show how she goes from really detesting this girl to kind of finally accepting her at first as a rival, then accepting her as a vampire. I thought that would have been a really good way to bring in that social commentary into the show, and that would be the perfect time to see someone change. Yes, right. But we don't see any of that.
No, instead they did a lazy thing where it's like, oh, she had another friend in the band, right? And her friend couldn't accept the fact that she was a vampire until the vampire saved her from a plate full of hot biscuits coming out from an oven, and we're like, really? Like,
that's what makes
that
you...
is what makes you turn? Like, not the fact that she was your friends for months and nothing had happened and you're being scared for no reason. Like, you don't deal with that issue at all. And I feel like they lost a lot of... it was a lost opportunity.
Yeah, there were so many lost opportunities in this show. And which is why I think it's annoying for us, because we see so much potential in what it could have done and how it could have been done so much better, but they don't. And so it's just kind of like, why did you just kind of ignore it and just, you know, everything's just like, oh, well, let's just go on because we don't have enough time.
Yeah. I feel like...
That literally is what it feels like half the show. It's like, we don't have enough episodes to talk about this, so let's just cut it all out.
Yeah. But at the same time, because they spent so much time in the first 2 episodes doing nothing, I was wondering, did they start off the show thinking it was going to be longer? Like, is that why they took their sweet time, like just doing things slowly, and then they realized, oh wait,
we only get 4 episodes.
We don't have no time to do this. Montage.
I don't know.
This feels like
the pacing was very off. Definitely, as you said, the first 2 episodes was very long. Nothing happens, and then suddenly everything happens in the last episode, and you're like, what?
I think this is like a perfect example of when politics, like internal like I don't know for sure, but it just feels like that there was a lot of internal politics in the company that was making this show that affected this show. So, like, it's a shame.
Because I actually quite enjoyed the premises. Like, after watching it and after thinking about it, I really enjoyed the premises, and I enjoyed how it could have been a very good vehicle to comment on racism and how to accept people and all the bigger things, right? It's a very good vehicle, I reckon.
Yes.
But now it's just kind of like it's kind of been like
everything's
chopped
so
down.
shallow.
Everything is just basically on the
surface.
Like nothing really.
And even like the relationship, like the second male character, he's like, okay, the main male character is like, you like her too.
Yeah.
Why don't you do anything about it? Okay, this is not a big issue, right? This is just the romance bit, a very small part of the story. There could have been so many reasons why he's doing the things he does.
Yeah.
And then he says, it's because vampires have loyalty to each other.
Yeah.
Now, it's a throwaway line, but you can also do so much with it. Is it an innate thing that vampires have, or is it just something he's just saying because he doesn't want to answer the question? Because he does do so much for her.
For no reason.
For no reason. And they could have done so much. Like, they could have delved into it, like heart-tugging moments about him thinking about her. But no, you don't have any of that. Everything's just
like the show
waved away.
The show makes him give up on her way too quickly.
Too easily, yeah.
It's like, oh, this is the love rival that I introduced in episode 3. By the episode 4, end of episode 4, he's given up on her.
Well, he didn't give up on her. He's still doing everything for her.
Yeah.
But he's given up on fighting for her.
Yeah.
He's instead going to do everything in his power to make her happy by letting her go out with the other guy. Like, supporting her decision to go with the other guy. And you're like...
like,
really?
That would have been great if you had shown me the between part. Like, get from him being in love with her to finally accepting that he will no longer, so he will try it always. But I need to see that part as well, because like now it just feels like, well, you didn't really like her enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like, I think I only felt anything in that scene because of all the tropes I've watched in other shows.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I feel like, oh, the poor guy.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, if I was watching this...
Purely as it is.
You won't feel anything for him. Because it's like, he was a dick at the start, right?
Yeah.
Because they showed him, he's the masked guy that was doing an interview on the TV that was scaring everyone to hell.
Yeah.
Like, because he was showing them vampiric powers and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the weirdest way to introduce this character as well. Like, it's like... He doesn't fit with the guy that was on TV, because I thought the guy on TV was going to mass murder people. Like, I thought he was going to be the big bad or something.
Yeah.
But in the end, he was like the most smushiest, friendliest vampire. And you're like, wait, that doesn't match up at all.
Yeah.
Where's all the anger? There was anger, but
it was
not in the way that I expected.
Not in the way that it was portrayed at the start.
Yeah.
The way they portrayed him was like, he was so angry at them. Oh, and this is the thing, we were talking, when I first introduced the show, I was saying, oh, it's about humans and vampire coexisting, and we're like, probably not coexisting. That's the thing, because in actual fact, they aren't really coexisting.
No.
Because the vampires are basically put on a leash.
Yes.
In the whole show.
Yes.
They are put on a leash, and if anything they do is goes out of bounds, or if they get their secret disclosed, they are taken away.
Yes. And the thing is, they would, if they use their power for any reason at all, even for the benefit of a human, like to save them, they still get punished for it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's another thing that this show has a problem with. They signed this treaty like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And they're bringing up all this issue now, like, oh, it's all bubbling to the surface now. People are like, vampires not happy with their lot now. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
They've been okay with, like, for hundreds of years, like, what was it? 200, 300, 400 years or whatever, and now they're having an issue with it.
Yeah.
And humans have been living with vampires for hundreds of years, and they're still afraid of them.
And they're only now realizing that there's these issues. Like, it's a bit like, okay, if I can accept the premises of the show if...
They signed up.
The treaty was only like recent.
20 years ago.
20, 50 years ago. And so people are still having that. I don't really know them.
I don't trust these people.
I don't know them that much. And we don't know them at all.
Yeah.
400 years have passed. Like, you'd think by now everything would have been
solved.
And
like, it's like, oh, they haven't been drinking our blood for 400 years. Like, you wouldn't be afraid of them by that point, right?
And... as you said, you probably expect them to have vending machines that sells blood.
Yeah.
Like you'll be like, oh, you're running out of blood today. Oh, we'll just buy some from a vending machine. Like you would expect that. That's the type of world that would probably progress to.
Yeah.
But they're basically, from the time they signed the treaty to current day, as if those hundreds of years didn't exist.
Yes.
And nothing developed in that time, apart from the fact that they can now control vampires.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it feels so one-sided, the treaty. It's like, what did they?
And
give
it wasn't
you in
even
return?
really humans controlling vampires. It's vampires controlling vampires so that they don't hurt humans.
Yeah.
And you're like, what made you do that? Like, what helped, apart from, you guys are very decent human beings then.
Yeah.
Like, well, not human beings, but like, they're more decent. They're more decent than human beings.
Yeah.
Right? Because they do everything, like, they're so loyal.
Yep.
They don't attack humans. They actively punish vampires who show any inkling of being a vampire. Like, it's just hard to accept the premise. So, yeah, I could see a lot of potential,
but they failed on so many levels.
Yeah.
But I just say, I think because we watched the show with a very low expectation, and because of that, we could kind of gloss over a lot of these things because it was like, oh well, it's just not a very good show. But you know, it's a romantic show, I guess. You know, it's a kind with a little bit of comedy and a little bit of social commentary, I guess. So it doesn't do what it sets out to do.
No. Now, would we recommend it to people?
I'm probably gonna lean to, like, if you have nothing to watch.
Yeah. Like, if it's a rainy day, you're stuck at home, you've watched everything else on Netflix.
Like, everything that you want to watch.
Yeah.
You've watched, then give this one a go.
Yeah.
Because you'll be surprised. Because I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised by watching this. Because I expected it to be, like, so utterly terrible.
Yeah.
You know, that I would literally be, you know, messaging Serena the next day going like, what the hell are we up doing this for?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. But it wasn't great.
Yeah. Like, it's not one that I would say go out and watch. Like, if you got anything better to do,
do that.
There's a new animated thing on Netflix called Super Drag. It's drawn in, like, the Powerpuff Girls style.
Yep.
Okay. Three drag queens. Okay, so 3 guys who, when they become superheroes, are their female counterparts.
Oh, okay.
And this is an adult show.
Right.
Like, there's so much not even innuendos. They're drawing body parts that normally don't get drawn in animated things. It's I think it's Brazilian, but like it's a Brazilian show, but it's been dubbed in English, and I think one of the voices is RuPaul, like the famous drag queen, and they have like so you know how with superhero teams there's always the not a leader but the person who stays at in the base telling them about
how to do stuff.
So she has a sidekick, and her sidekick is called Dildo. Right? It's like it's a dildo on wheels, a big machine that. Yeah. And so when she wants to show the heroes the case that they're working on, like the information, Dildo is the one who has to project the information on a screen, right? And so, like, the first episode is like, Dildo, fill them up, right? And then, like, you have the 3 guys kind of, like, snickering, giggling, right? Because, yeah. And you're like, this is not a... And, like, when they go and save people, and there was an unconscious guy that was locked in his car, like, seatbelt, right? One of the women goes and unlocks the belt and sees that he has an erection, so she gropes him before she... saves him. And you're like, there's something very adult about this show, but it's really funny. Like, it's really funny. And you see, I would recommend that over this.
Yeah. Look, I think, there's if this show, like, if Orange Marmalade had been a full season show, that had fully fleshed characters and developed the story as we would have imagined it, it would have been a brilliant show. It would have been a brilliant show. Mm-hmm. As it is right now, I would probably say maybe go find the comic.
Yes.
Maybe read the comic, because I'm actually more interested in reading the comic now, because I like the premise and I like how it's done. Maybe the comic does it a lot better.
I was tempted to, but that's like 100-something episodes, and I couldn't read it in time for this show. But I really wanted to do that.
Yeah, so I would probably suggest you maybe do that first, then actually watching this.
Yeah.
As we said, watch this if you really have nothing to watch and you want to watch something that's a bit lighthearted and, doesn't require too much brain power, then, this isn't a terrible one.
No.
Okay, I think that's pretty much all we needed to talk. Oh, actually, there's one thing very offhand about this show. I didn't realize the teacher.
Yeah?
The vampire teacher.
Oh, by the way, he was really creepy for most of it. Like, the way he talks to the students and the way he looks. Like, by the season 3 was fine. But that first season, I'm like, you should sue the guy for sexual harassment by the way he looks at you.
Do you think that's because we have an image of him in the other show?
What other show?
Because he was one of the bad guys in the show you told me to watch.
The show I told
Monkey King show.
Oh, Korean Odyssey.
Yeah. He was in Korean Odyssey.
Yeah.
He's the evil guy in the Korean Odyssey.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, he must be an evil person.
Yes.
And for the whole show, I was like, but he's not. But why am I feeling that he should be the evil guy? And I think that's because
No, I actually recognized him when we first watched it. I forgot it now, but when we first watched it, I saw it. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's the evil guy in the thing. He must be evil now because the way he looks, he's too oily. He's just too, oh my God. Like, why does no one see that he's evil? And then I realized it's just because he's married to the wife. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's not evil.
No.
It was a lot more acceptable once I realized what his relationship was to the main guy. Prior to that, I was like, there's some weird relationship going on. It made me wonder whether the person who wrote the script didn't know what their relationship was before that point. Which is why I'm saying, like, even with the second male lead, his characterization was so different later on to what he started off with. I'm wondering whether the show started off with a completely different idea, with a different feel, and that just didn't pan out, or they had to change it halfway through. Because he was way too oily, and then he just became friendly. And it's just like there's a slight...
there's a slight
disconnect.
There's a disjoint between the characterizations. But actually, that was the one thing. I really wish that they showed the teacher and
the
wife's relationship a bit more, because that's the whole thing that supposedly is the whole reason why the main guy hates vampires, right?
Yep.
That's the whole point of it. But
they don't show that. No. The whole idea is that the moment he was a vampire, the fact that she was marrying a vampire, that was enough to set him off.
Yeah.
Not because he was replacing his dad, not because the mother was spending more time with the guy, none of that.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense if it was.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I want them to show that relationship and the strain it has on their relationship, because she's obviously now estranged from her son.
Yeah.
Because the son absolutely hates them both.
Yep.
Well, kind of.
And I also find it interesting how two people could get married with neither of their son or their nephew ever meeting each other until the wedding.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, no one had a family day? Like, just to see whether everyone gets along or anything?
And that, it just seems too convenient that it just happens like that.
Yeah.
But, like, I would like to see how that relationship worked. Because that is basically what's going to happen, like, to the current.
Do they have to face any, like, ostracism, or like, do people, like, say, you guys can't eat here because you're a disgusting couple? I can't believe a human and a vampire together. Like, although he's not openly
a vampire. But it would be interesting to see when they talk about that, or when they say, or like when they, because they can't go out for dinner.
Yeah.
Because they can't go out for dinner because he can't actually eat or whatever.
Well, he just has to swallow the food.
Like, it'll be just interesting to see how it affects their relationship. And I wanted to see that. I wanted to see...
You never see them living together.
No.
Right? Because apparently they're married, but you never see them together because apparently she works in a different school from him and is far enough away. And then in season 3, they aren't living together because
she has to take care of the son, and the son doesn't want
like,
It's just like
really weird.
Yeah, it's like a really weird relationship that's supposed to have worked. I would love it, because I want to see how a working relationship would have worked in like what sacrifices do you guys needed to make?
Yep.
I wanted to see that, and that would again bring in all that social commentary. Would have made it the same. But again, that didn't happen, so I was just like, so wasted. But yeah, sorry, I just had to kind of point that out because I felt like I felt in some respects I was being a bit unfair on him as a character because I hated his character at the start because I was like, you must be evil.
Yes.
You must be evil. Like you must have been with the woman for some other reason.
Yeah, I didn't
even think that. It didn't even occur to me that he actually was in love with her until like season 1 ended. I'm like, oh, he actually is supposed to be in love with her. He actually is supposed to be a good guy in this.
And I think I switched. Like I liked him more in the period piece
because we see him change in the period piece.
And he's not oily. Like at first he was cold, like he was a cold killer.
Yeah.
Then he feels, although that was the strangest way. Like you just spend one night not talking to this woman,
and then you
fall in love with her.
Yeah.
And you're like, again, if that was a longer show, you could show him helping her more or visiting her more,
and then starting to actually develop feelings for her. Whereas now it's just like you just went from 0 to now you're in love, so much in love with her that you're willing to disobey your
sire,
leader.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So many wasted
opportunities.
Okay.
Okay, so my turn to say the thing that you've been saying. What are we doing next month?
What are we doing next month, Serena?
No, I'm okay.
Do we want to do Rise of the Phoenix?
Well, we better because we actually haven't talked about what else we would do.
Actually, that's right.
Okay, we probably need to mention one thing though. There will be no show next month.
Yes.
Yes. Because scheduling reasons and stuff, Peter way too much public holidays. Like no, not public. He's way too much annual leave, and he has to spend some of it.
Yes.
And I hate his guts.
I actually did get an email saying you need to reduce your annual leave. You have too much annual leave, and like everyone in my office was just looking at me. You're like, how the hell do you have so much annual leave?
Because you always
take holidays, and I'm like, I don't know. So because of that, I actually won't be in Australia. I actually won't be in the country for the whole January and February.
Yeah.
Which means it's going to be scheduling, which makes scheduling our show a bit hard.
Yep. Now, we could do an episode in December and then not have a show in January and maybe do an online one in February. But because the show we're looking to do has 70 episodes, which technically speaking, knowing our schedules and the way I binge shows, I should be able to go through, especially now that I realize I actually I watched 14 in 3 days. Yeah. I should be able to do it.
Yeah.
But we'll give ourselves a little bit more time.
And because November hasn't actually ended yet, and technically Serena still needs to do her NaNoWriMo.
Yes.
I still need to finish my legal course. Technically this month we shouldn't be watching any more stuff.
That's not going to happen. We're going to watch it, yeah.
But we shouldn't be binging it and ignoring everything else.
Yes.
So, what we'll try to do is we'll try and watch it in a bit more controlled manner. And then probably we'll do our recording late December-ish.
Yeah, and publish it in January.
And then publish in Jan.
Yeah.
So, yes, unfortunately, we won't have a show next month. But I also feel, because we've been doing a lot of like animes, we've been doing a lot of Korean shows. I feel like it's been time we should introduce, a different Chinese show as well. So, give us some time to digest this so that we can talk about it. Because I can already foresee what we're going to compare this show to.
Yeah.
And that's
we still haven't done that other show.
No.
And I don't think we should ever do that show.
No. Because we don't want to ruin it for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like a god show in our mind.
Yeah, it's like the perfect.
It's on the pedestal.
Shining.
nothing can come close to it. So, but we will make mention of it obviously next time. But yeah, so I hope you guys look forward to that, and you would forgive us for not having a show next time.
Yeah. Well, everyone will in advance to that. In advance of that, my mind is blanking out. So because we're not going to have a show in December, we should say, we wish you happy, seasonal greetings for political correctness.
Yes.
Everyone relax. Don't stress out. I understand people need to, organize Christmas parties and all that kind of stuff. But in the middle of all that chaos, take a moment, take a breather. If someone cuts you off in traffic while you're going to buy a Christmas tree, personal experience, don't wish that their Christmas pudding falls or like their tree burns up. Just take a breather. Appreciate, the Christmas holiday spirit. And we'll see you next year.
We'll see you next year.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, wait. Have we done our closing yet?
Oh, no, we haven't.
I know, right?
Oh, God.
We're terrible.
No, okay. Am I doing it?
You do it.
Okay.
I did the opening this time.
Okay. So you can find our show notes in triggerpointfm.com/26. You can email us at triggerpointfm@gmail.com, or you can contact us on Twitter at triggerpointfm.
So until then, see you next year.
Bye.
Bye.